Hi, hello students. Welcome back to Kartikeya IAS Academy. This is today daily current affairs, that is 30th May 2020. So the first topic of today's current affairs is Agniprastha. So what is the meaning of Agniprastha? So in the news, the foundation stone for missile park called Agniprastha was laid in INS Kalinga. See, it is in Vishakhapatnam. INS Kalinga is a place where all the missiles have been kept. So the missile park aims to provide information about the history of INS Kalinga. The main attraction of park is that P-70 Amethyst. So Amethyst is a missile which we are going to see in the next slide. It is an anti-ship missile that is launched under the water. The missile park will also be a motivational area for minds that are interested in missiles and missile technology. See, if you see the Agniprastha, this is called Agniprastha. This is an area of talking about missiles. All the different types of missiles have been arranged in this place called Agniprastha. This is an INS Kalinga. Right, so the missile park is dedicated to the officers, sailors, and other support staff that served for INS Kalinga. Right, so this is the INS Kalinga, that is Agniprastha, the missile park. So definitely you can expect one type of question like this. So which of the following talks about Agniprastha? So a missile park or missile thing, etc., is going to ask. Then this is called P-70 Amethyst, is a kind of missile which you can see it's a highly developed technology is there. So this is also another important. Then the solar power plant. This park that is called missile park is to operate on the solar power. 2 megawatt solar photovoltaic plant was commissioned at INS Kalinga as well. This plant is a part of National Solar Mission of Government of India. It will aid the Government of India to achieve its target of 100 gigawatt of solar power by 2022. This is very important. So yes, my dear students, you have to remember this Government of India to achieve its target of 100 megawatt of solar power by 2022. This you have to remember. So then what is INS Kalinga? INS Kalinga is an Indian Navy establishment that reports to the Eastern Naval Command. It is located in Vishakhapatnam, right? Then the second important current affairs, that is Rojgar Setu scheme. Very important, my dear students. See, Madhya Pradesh government has launched Rojgar Setu Yojana to help migrant workers. See, because of the COVID-19, lot of informal sector is affected with the jobs. So, the scheme provides an employment to the migrant workers. What are the key features? It will provide an employment to the migrant workers that have returned to their homes. The scheme is to conduct the complete survey on the population of the state. So, along with the scheme, Madhya Pradesh government is planning to implement Swamitva scheme. Swamitva scheme. This is also very important. The Swamitva scheme was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during Panchayat Raj Day 2020. So then what is meant by Swamitva scheme? In the next slide we are going to discuss about it. Then what is meant by Swamitva scheme? The scheme was launched on the map rural lands. Launched to the map rural lands that are inhabited. The mapping is to be done using the drones. That is trying to identify the rural lands through the drones so that they can provide better services. Swamitra is a survey of villages and mapping with improved technology in village areas. The scheme will help to provide integrated validation solution. The scheme will also help to revenue collection rural areas. This program is currently being implemented in Karnataka, Haryana, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Yes, my dear student. So, though this information seems to be very small, but definitely you can expect one means preliminary questions about who introduced this Rojgar Setu scheme, which state government. Then the third current affairs, that is United States of America joins G7 partnership on artificial intelligence. He's saying that so because of the artificial intelligence, we are losing human innovations. So The leaders of group of 7 wealthiest countries in the world, that is G7, had set up a global partnership on artificial intelligence. So the basic idea is that the United States was not a part of this partnership. However, US is now joining this group to counter the Chinese domination in shaping international standards on surveillance and facial recognition at United States. So that is this program. Why United States of America wanted to join G7 countries to counter the activities of China in the international market. So the initiative to launch a global group on artificial intelligence was initiated by the France and Canada. Right, my dear students? Then what is the US on the partnership? United Nations of America initially objected G7 partnership on artificial intelligence, claiming that the focus too much on regulation of artificial intelligence would hamper innovation. సో కాబట్టి ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ని మనం ఆధారపడినట్లయితే హ్యూమన్ ఇన్నోవేషన్స్ అనేవి పడిపోయే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో ఇనిషియల్లీ ది రిజెక్టెడ్ ఇట్. It is important for the US to join the partnership as there is a several tech giants like Google, Microsoft, Apple that contribute significant amount to the GDP of US. So the international standards set will affect these companies greatly. Therefore, it is important for the US to join the partnership. Then who are G7 countries? These are the G7 means the governments of Intergovernmental Economic Organization that consist of world largest economies such as France, Canada, Italy, Germany, Japan, UK and US. This group is about 46% of total GDP. So right, next slide, that is talking about the government of India lifts ban on paracetamol exports. So if you see that the government of India has lifted a ban on exports, that is a paracetamol, which is a pain reliever, you know that, fever also, active pharmaceutical ingredient. This is the image of paracetamol. So the removal of ban will now allow the exports of pharmaceutical ingredients used for COVID-19 treatment. So in order to activate this, the government of India has amended section 3 of Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act of 1992. So this is another important, you can see that COVID-19, so all the things they have mentioned very clearly. What is the imposition on ban? The government of India had earlier imposed export ban over 26 pharma ingredients. This included paracetamol also, that is along with that hydroxychloroquine, which is very important drug for present COVID-19 treatments. Then this was done to avoid the shortage of inside the country during the outbreak of COVID-19. So that is on April 6, 2020, the export ban on 24 API were lifted, leaving out paracetamol. So supply to pharmaceutical companies to Europe is, India is to supply around 1000 tons of active pharmaceutical ingredients, that is called medicines, to Europe. Europe is the largest buyer of paracetamol from India. So Europe alone imports more than 12,000 tons of paracetamol annually. You can see, imagine, that is the Hyderabad is the hub of pharmaceutical companies. So India is exporting a lot of materials to the foreign countries, especially if you see a drug of paracetamol, which is exported to South Africa and other countries and Europe. So Europe is the largest importer of this paracetamol. The paracetamol is a pain reliever. It was the first made in 1877. It is placed in the essential medicine list of World Health Organization. In 2018-19, India exported 5.8 billion USD dollars worth of paracetamol. Right, my dear students, the next slide is the Lok Sabha nominates 15 MPs as associate members of Delimitation Commission. So what is meant by this delimitation commission? So this is an important topic in polity. So whenever literally the delimitation literally means the process of fixing limits and boundaries of territorial constituencies in the state that has legislative body. So that means the Lok Sabha Speaker has nominated 15 MPs from Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh as the state associate members of the Delimitation Commission to assist the panel in redrawing parliamentary and assembly constituencies of northeastern states and the union territories. ఐ హోప్ మీకు అర్థమైంది అనుకుంటానండి. ఇటీవల కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం వాళ్ళు ఈ డీలిమిటేషన్ కమిషన్ ఏర్పాటు చేసే ఉద్దేశంలో ఉన్నారు. డీలిమిటేషన్ కమిషన్ యొక్క ముఖ్య ఉద్దేశం ఏంటంటే, సో టు ఐడెంటిఫై డిఫరెంట్ constituencies of the different states. If your population is crossing more than 7.5 lakh population, so there that one more constituency will be created. So the members of parliament and legislative assemblies of states for which the delimitation commission is set up are drawn in association with the membership. So next one, background, the government had on March 6 constituted a delimitation commission, so to be headed by the former Supreme Court judge, that is Ranjana Prakash Desai, very important, Ranjan Prakash Desai, to redraw Lok Sabha and Assembly constituencies of Union Territories and Jammu and Kashmir and the northeastern states of Assam, etc. So this is the commission which is going to be appointed by the president only. Who carries out the existence? So delimitation is undertaken by the highly powerful commission. They are formally known as delimitation commission or boundary commission. So this which led to the bodies which are so powerful that the orders have been the force of law and cannot be challenged before the court. Right, till date there are four times of delimitation commission was appointed, and the first under the Delimitation Act of 1952, which came into force 1952. Again in 1962, that is Delimitation Commission Act of 1962. So delimitation, this is the first one, this is the second one. Again 1972 third one, again recently 2002. The commission orders are enforced as per the specified President of India. So copies of these orders that laid before the Lok Sabha or the concerned legislative assemblies of the states. So no modifications are permitted. So right, my dear students, it is important that the president will appoint the delimitation commission, and the reports of delimitation commission will be submitted to the president, and president will submit to the parliament. And last one, the finance minister launched instant Aadhaar based KYC. So whenever if you want to take the PAN, that is permanent account number, and earlier we have to fill applications and a lot of documentary is there. But present Nirmala Sitharaman, who introduced this concept called the instant Aadhaar based KYC. That is, you can easily get your Aadhaar card and PAN card also. The Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman launched the instant Aadhaar based KYC. The facility will be available for PAN applicants only that possess the valid Aadhaar number. They should also have a mobile number registered with Aadhaar. The process of allocating PAN is paperless and is also free of cost. Right, in the last slide, the union budget, that is in 2021, the concept of instant Aadhaar or instant PAN also will be issued by using this process. The PAN is a permanent account number. It is a 10-digit alphanumeric number that is issued by the income tax department. This enables income tax department to identify tax evasion. So right, my dear students, so this is current affairs for today's session. So thank you very much, and if you see that all the current affairs we are going with the systematic order. So whoever joins this all the current affairs test series program, so they can simply take it. Thank you very much.